we are set. And I just typed the title for this Facebook Live, The Greatest Way is Easy, episode number 2. I'm happy to be here with you all again, for the present audience and the future audiences here. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I will be continue reading the English version by, what's his name? Steven Mithcell, who translated the Tao Te Ching, a new English version. And tonight I'm going to share with you another one of my favorite chapters, 3. So at the very beginning of the Tao Te Ching book, it says the Tao cannot be told. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. It reminds me of what I learned from Access Consciousness. Definition itself, whatever definition that is, right or wrong, good or bad, perfect or not perfect, definition itself is a limitation. Okay, so the unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the region of all particular things. It's like for us, for you being you, for me being myself, whenever definition we put on ourselves, that becomes a limitation, the uppermost of what we can be. And if you don't have any particular definition of yourself, then you have this space of allowance for you to be anything, to receive anything, to choose and generate, to create anything. Okay, so here comes a little bit of chapter 2, which is the very beginning of Tao Te Ching. I guess maybe somewhere else you have heard of this saying. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. So here's a description of the polarity that we see, the beautiful and the ugly, the good and the bad, the long and the short, the being and the non-being, which in Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, all the polarity, all the differences are melted and co-created and included in this oneness that he reluctantly named Tao, which he knows even Tao itself cannot be named. It's just like a nickname, or however we call it. You call it consciousness, you call it the truth, or just the space itself. Okay, so why when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly? Because the human mind creates this comparison all the time. This is how our mind is functioning, from measurement, from computations, from judgments. If I judge something is beautiful, I must have a standard against something that is not beautiful. So what is the standard? Like, who created this standard? When people see some things as good, other things become bad. So what if there is no good and no bad, and there could just be joy, and there could just be space, and there could just be choices? I love this part, especially from chapter 2. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. Okay, so the master in this book, it refers to someone who is keeping with the Tao. It's like when we say someone that is willing to follow awareness, follow consciousness. Okay, the master acts without doing anything. So when she performs, when she functions, anything, it seems like she didn't do anything without effort. And she teaches without saying anything. For me, it feels like also today in my X-Men class, I had talked about how many times just because you are capable, so capable, but you couldn't really acknowledge that in yourself. So we keep preaching others, facilitating others, or giving advice, telling people what is better for them, or encourage people, you want to comfort them, you want to heal them, and so many doing from effort. Actually, for me, it's like if we withdraw that doing of you so much want to help others into being with yourself even deeper, you will discover a space within you that is like an infinite source that you always generate and being from what's within you, rather than having this projection or this impulse all the time to change others, to help others to get better and to comfort others. I appreciate what I learned in Access is before people asking a question or asking help from you, you never have to give something that they cannot receive. So this part in Tao Te Ching reminds me, like when someone is being, their presence is an inspiration and contribution already. They don't have to say anything or doing anything out of their effort, because the being, the space, the consciousness, the vibration they provide by their being is already creating thousands of words or deeds from effort, from hard work, or from, let's say, from the mind. The mind wants to change and control the outside world, but the being knows it doesn't have to control because everything is in control by the infinite universe and everything is taken care well. Why do we have to change anything that is outside of us? I remember the first COP class that I went to in Vienna, 2018, January, with Gary and Brendan. The first thing Gary said in that class is, your reality lives within you. Yeah, so there's a kind of ease of being and living your reality and having no expectations of anything that's irrelevant. But of course, it's a practice. I don't mean you will achieve that immediately, neither I don't have to. But I always love the process of how the wisdom, the mystic of life unfolds itself. And we are infinite beings, so we have this infinite knowing. But I like in this Tao Te Ching, where Lao Tzu said anything that we don't know, anything that is unknown. It's more like in Access we said living in question rather than conclusion, because there are things that we haven't discovered yet. And there are always something that we haven't discovered. So yes, we do know everything, but we don't have conclusion about anything neither. Not any of the conclusion is true because it's always created from the mind. Yeah. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. No detachment, no attachment. And she has, but doesn't possess. Acts, but doesn't expect. So when the master moves, she made choices without expectation for any outcome. She can have things, but she doesn't have to possess. Like everything we have is from the earth. It doesn't really belong to us. Even money, houses, or clothes, or food. Like, can you name anything that is really forever yours? So I love this insight, like no possession, but of course you are willing to have or not to have. That's a choice, but you always know you don't possess anything and you don't possess any body neither. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. Wow. Okay, and chapter 3. Here it comes, the discussion of being and doing, being and non-being. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know. So this paragraph, you lose every conclusion, definition, judgments, expectation, projections, and separation that we hold as so fixed, valuable, and significant in our reality. And a true master destroys everything you think you know and creates this confusion. Is like creating this vast space of questioning, of unknown, of mistake, and then you have all free will to explore anything that is outside of our fixed reality. I just love it. Okay, the last sentence here is, practice not doing and everything will fall into place. So I know this sounds really Eastern, and let me know if you like it or any feedback, any feelings when you heard this. When you practice not doing, not to do, and everything will fall into space. Of course, the mind will ask, but how if you don't do anything? How does everything just fall into space? Fall into place, sorry. So for me, it's like not doing here doesn't mean not taking action. It means not taking any irrelevant action. So all of the action that one takes flows from their being, from what they be, from what they know, from what they can receive. So this is a practice of being. That is not to do anything that takes so much effort, that is so hard, that is so not easy, not smooth. When you have this trust in the infinite source of the universe, the quantum entanglements, how the Tao works everything, then it's like a trust within yourself that you don't have to function from fear, from anxiety, from control, from manipulation, from all those fancy techniques to get you somewhere, to get you successful, to get you the result you want. That for me is like a human reality. And of course, the virtual reality of if you go from A to B to C, then you will arrive at D. But that is so boring, right? That is so boring and so linear. And for me, it's not fun. For me, the fun and exploration, the adventure lies in when you function from a don't know mind, then your being, your awareness, your magic starts to occur without putting much effort. And then things show up, and then people show up, possibilities show up. And this is so far beyond techniques, because Tao is not any tools. It's in other, it's in other Chinese ancient sayings that you cannot only have the tools without keeping with the Tao to get things to work. If we have so many tools, techniques, and we so much want to help others, facilitate others, and we know those tools are great, but if we lose connection with the essence of consciousness, the essence of energy, then every tool, every techniques, every fancy, brilliant capacity, and or the smart ones, okay, the capable ones, it doesn't make any sense if there is no essence of space in it. Okay, and well, the last part I will read you tonight is chapter 4, which is only 7 lines. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. So it's the resource of consciousness. Let's put it this way in a modern language. The resource of consciousness is endless, is unlimited. There's no end of consciousness. There's no end of energy. There's no end of Tao. You can always use it, but it's never limited. So which universe do we choose to live in? The universe of finite or the universe of infinite? It is like eternal void filled with infinite possibilities. It is hidden, but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God. Yeah. Okay. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. The one who is most divine, has most virtues, and the one that is mean, that is narrow-minded, the one that is stupid. The Tao doesn't have any point of view about good and evil. We usually do, of course. That's the so-called the human life, based on all judgments, standards, good and bad, what is right, what is wrong, what is the good ones, what is the bad ones, what should and what should not. And see how those judgments limit our creativity and our possibilities of living happily and living a free, joyful life, because we are so confined by the rigidity of mind. So the Tao doesn't have a side. It gives birth to both good and evil. I love this. This is so beautiful. There's an elegance of consciousness, how it includes everything. So in Chinese, we have the saying, the ocean can include all those rivers, streams, waterfalls, because the ocean is the most inclusive one. That is why it is the greatest one. So exactly like the title of this series, I call it The Greatest Way is Easy. It is not only the most easy, it is also the most inclusive one, because all the good, bad, all the good thing you've done, all the bad thing you've done, the so-called good thing and bad thing, the so-called sinners and saints, they are actually all equal beings. But when we put colors on it, we value differently. We put significance on our past choices, our past behaviors. Isn't that funny? Because we spend so much energy just to judge or even judging ourselves a lot. Well, imagine just for 10 seconds, if you be the space of Tao, that you include everything that you are aware in this world and everything you are aware of, your reality, your friend's reality, everyone's reality, being able to include them all in your space without any judgments. That's Tao itself. That's consciousness itself. The Tao is like a bellows. It is empty yet infinitely capable. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. Hold on to the center. Okay, here is the last line of chapter 5. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. So I don't usually like talking. I read a lot, and even this action of putting what I like on Facebook Live is such a daring behavior compared to my history of hiding everything I read, hiding everything I know, and just being as an access facilitator. And then I don't have to share anything else, but I choose to talk about it, not to show this off, but I really would like to present what is so precious from my point of view, the ancient, the eternal wisdom that is like such a beautiful description of everything that you need to that can contribute to your acknowledgement of your own knowing and your own consciousness. We cannot really talk about it because language itself is a creation of this reality, and we all have that energy sensation, and we all have this awareness, you know, something further, something greater is possible other than what we see now that's going on in the world. So what if this could just be present in our world and simply serve our living as a blissful contribution if you are willing to receive it, and having some questions for yourself, having some little time of self-reflection or being in solitude. And that, I believe, will go so far beyond the noises in this world. So yes, the more you use the Tao, the more it produces. So Tao itself is self-generating. It's never getting tired. Sometimes you hear people saying, oh, I'm so tired after a whole day of work, or, well, I've done so much, I'm really running out. Yeah, but for people who are willing to receive from consciousness, their energy is just endless, and they can always regenerate, and even recover from all broken past, from all broken memories, pieces, or traumas or dramas. You have this capacity, I mean, within every one of ourselves to regenerate your life, if you are willing to be a different space and just choose differently. And maybe you wake up a new day. Who knows how much you are capable of receiving just in one night, or even in this short conversation. I believe that, and not only believing, but trusting. And I've been kind of using it in my own life with how I create my business of consciousness as as a source of joy, a source of self-discovery for myself. I create this path, which is so rebellious, starting from being such a rebel, and then a young seeker, a backpacker, a traveler, then a student, and then a translator, and then a facilitator. But I also had so many other roles that, well, for me, the Tao is like, when it's present in my life, I'm just happy and I'm just enjoying this moment so much. Okay, so this is the random talk tonight to share with you guys the other few chapters that I really enjoy in this book, Tao Te Ching. So even picking up this idea to start doing Facebook Live, to introduce you some bit of the ancient China wisdom, it's after the night I finished my Beings of Light book reading club. I just received this, and I naturally began to do it without any hesitation, without any judgments of myself, or without any reason. Why am I doing this? Well, there really is no reason of why I'm doing this. I just feel like I would love to do what I can, even it's a small action, to honor what is so present in the pearls of consciousness that is so beyond time and space, that is so beyond all those techniques and tools and the superiority we have, or the superiority and the inferiority, that we are better than others, or others are better than me. Like all those judgments, comparison is like basically irrelevant from what is truly available for all of us, that is so unable to name it, and that is so powerful and elegant. So what about practice being, rather than practice to do something, to get somewhere, to achieve something? What about practice being and being and being and being, even more, unless there's no boundary in your space of being? Okay, so much for tonight, and I hope you enjoy watching this, and I would like any of your feedback, your comments, or feel free to click a like or a little heart, or you can share this with your friends, and I'm happy to receive like anything that comes up for you when you are joining me for this reading. And I may see you next time in a few days. What else is possible? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Good night. Thank you for watching.